Why did you start Innerfire Ministries?
Well, maybe the better question is why don't we restart it? We restarted in January of 20, and you were there for that. But the Innerfire had been around for a long time. The reason we relaunched it is John and I had always, John being my wife, we had always been in ministry, and we just saw a need. And what I saw was twofold. I saw a lot of people that were going to church, and once they left church and went about their regular workaday world where they were going to work and doing hobbies and those kind of things, it seemed to me that their faith was not being translated into those areas of their life. And I say that because of this, and I'm this may be more than you're looking for, but the reason I say that is, I am a business owner. Maybe we'll talk about that a little bit later, but I'm out in the business world a lot, and many times I would meet people, maybe work on a job with them or for them, just have an association with them in some form or fashion, interact with them several times, and then eventually it would come up that, hey, yeah, I hold this position at my church, or I teach Sunday school, or, this is the church I go to. And when they would say that, there would be a little bit of a shock to my system, because up until they said that, I would not have known they were going to church. I would not have known that they were a person of faith based on their other words and actions that I saw up to that point. And so oftentimes that shocked me. It made me ask the question, number one, do people see that in me? When I interact with other people, do they immediately know Scotty is a person of faith? There's something more to him than just the physical. So it made me question that in my own self and question it in other people and wonder, are we really integrating our faith into all areas of our life so that that's evident to people? So that's been on my mind for years, and in recent times it just was brought more to the forefront. And
I would just throw in there, I had something come to mind. I went to Union University, and which for those of you who don't know, it's a Southern Baptist Christian college. It's a great school, but I remember my freshman year, going in with all these expectations, and similarly experiencing that kind of shock of realizing that everyone does not take their faith as seriously as I thought. People who, label themselves Christians are going to a Christian college. I remember particularly, I went through, at least partially, like the sorority rush, and this is no throw off on Greek life at all. My husband was involved in Greek life, but I didn't end up taking part in that because I was just really amazed at the lack of character that I saw at a renowned Christian college. And you go in chapel, at least 50% of the people are on their phones, and it was like, wow, there's a disconnect here.
Absolutely. And just for clarification of the things that I'm talking about, when I would meet somebody in the workplace, or even maybe at some of your extracurricular activities when I was with y'all as kids, the things
He's my dad, by the way.
Yeah, we were going to get to that later, but it kind of came up now. The things that cue me in are the subjects that people want to talk about, the language that they use, how they talk about their spouse, how they talk about other people in disparaging ways, the activities that they say they participate in. All those things are the things that I look for as clues when I meet somebody about their engagement with their faith and how their faith is impacting their lives. And so when I get a negative reading on all of those things, and then the person out of the blue says, "Oh yeah, I lead the music at my church on Sundays," I just get taken back by that, and that's what made me question that integration of faith. So, getting back to the original question of what made us relaunch Innerfire, we wanted people that desired to integrate their faith to be able to have a place where they could come and get some help, support, resources for doing that. Because, me again, being out in the world as a Christian, even as a minister, and me trying to confront those things that I saw in the workplace in a real way so that my faith was not only apparent but helpful, is challenging. I mean, let's just be honest about it. It's not an easy thing to do. So we want to help people do that. We want to help people go deeper in their faith. So that was the first thing. The second thing that I saw was that your generation, Hannah, was facing a whole new set of challenges that my generation never had to face. And quite honestly, I saw us losing a lot of your generation. I mean, you just wrote an article about it, but people your age have fled the church. And they not only have fled the church, but they've fled the faith, right? And so this was, as my kids got to that age where they left the nest, left that little Christian bubble that we had created in our home, and went out to confront the real world, I saw what you were facing. I saw what you were facing at a Christian university. I saw what Andrew, was a totally different Christian university, facing the same issues. And, Jacob, who did not finish school but decided to start his career, when he went into the workforce at his age and dealing with his peers, saw a lot of the same things, just things that, quite honestly, I don't think I did a good enough job of preparing y'all for. Even though I think we did lay a good foundation for you, I think we could have done better. And so I looked at you, I looked at the generation as a whole, and I said, we've got to do something. We have got to get more proactive in laying that foundation so that when the kids do leave the little Christian bubble that we too often create for them, that they will be prepared to deal with it. And, the other thing that plays into that, if I want to kind of compare and contrast my upbringing to your upbringing. I was brought up when there was no such thing as the internet. We didn't have a computer at home. Matter of fact, I went to college and I didn't have a computer. I didn't have a computer until I graduated college and actually went on active duty in the Air Force. And so your generation has grown up with an iPhone and an iPad in their hands, instant access to tons of information, the internet, all that. And so when I was growing up, I didn't really question the worldview that was laid out for me because I simply didn't have access to other viewpoints for the most part. I went to school and studied history and some of the things that had happened, but really being confronted with it in a real in-your-face way where you have to deal with this, I didn't really have to deal with that until I went to college, right? Now, our kids are on the internet at a very early age. I see it all the time where kids, even 3 and 4 years old, have an iPad in their hand, and I'm sure their parents are limiting them in some way, but very early you get on the internet and you get all this access to these contrary views. And so you're having to deal with kids in today's generation are having to deal with worldviews that challenge the Christian worldview at an earlier and earlier age. Therefore, I think it's very important that as parents, we discuss that, we discuss how to handle that, we discuss how to combat that, and that's part of what we're trying to do, is to give people the tools to have those conversations and to confront those issues and just give them support because it's difficult.
And that's not to say that, we are fearful of other worldviews or want to shelter kids from these things. But we're actually saying the opposite. We want to equip families to feel confident in engaging with their kids and talking about these things. And just to harken back to what we were saying earlier about some of the problems we saw, I just want to clarify, it's not to say that we think we're the ones who have all the answers and we're here to fix everything. We're just saying we've seen these issues, and they're issues that we've struggled with as well, and that we want to hopefully come alongside people and seek truth, seek answers together, and talk about some of these problems that we see.